You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. Sending me on Twitter, The Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Heart of Amethyst, but this time we are delving back into Ikalis' path, because we had like less than a minute of content left for Almond, so there's really no point in covering that until the next update comes out. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes. Want to entertain you? Let's jump right in. Alarm chain, you're up, and let's go. Here, let me help you. The wolf wraps my arm around his shoulder and helps me stand up. Then we just leave everything behind us. The shop, Pat, and the anger. As we came back, I managed to stand on my own, so he dropped me from his shoulder as I convinced him that I could manage. Wouldn't want to weigh on him unnecessarily. The wolf still seemed a little worried, but I tried to reassure him as best I could. Although, honestly, I'm not feeling that well. In any case, we continued walking. As we did, he asked what had happened, and I told him about my story with Pat. What he did to me, and the voice. After all, if someone could know what it is, that would be him. Luckily, the rain took us out of the conversation as the downpour drenched us entirely. We ran as fast as we could, but our clothes were utterly wet when we made it to the inn. Goddesses, that indeed came out of nowhere, Ikalis says while taking off his shoes and drying himself as best as possible with the towel the innkeeper lent us. I do the same, trying not to mess up the room. Indeed, it took the whole town by surprise. Ikalis and I had already taken most of our clothes off, only remaining in our underwear. And I'm ashamed to say it, but I've been curiously eyeing him for a while. I was not expecting him to have such a well-toned body under the many layers of clothing he usually wears. I mean, he's nowhere near Almond or Ikalis when it comes to the muscles. His arms and legs are slimmer. But he's nowhere near Almond or Ikalis. A little bit of a thing here. That is Ikalis. But his chest looks strong, and his belly has not a single trace of fat on it. His back is also quite broad, and his bottom looks well formed. So I've been thinking. The wolf turns around and catches me red-handed, but decides not to comment on it and only offers me an odd look. We should go to the library after lunch, if that suits you fine. Yeah, sure, sounds good to me. Silence fills the room as it turns out that not every guy enjoys his ass being stared at. Crazy, right? As soon as I noticed that I managed to make him feel uncomfortable again, something I'm very good at, apparently. So, as usual, I'm the one in charge of picking the conversation back up. I didn't know you had a tattoo? That's cool. Is it kind of like my marks? Oh, this? Ikalis touches his left pec, where a strange-looking triangle has been engraved on his skin. You are right. In a way, this tattoo is similar to your marks. After all, there are traces of magic in it as well. Really? Magic in a tattoo? That's new. I got him right where I want him, as I know that Ikalis can't help but run his mouth when it comes to these sorts of topics, making him forget all of our previous interactions and giving me a new chance to not mess things up. I've gotten good at dealing with the wolf's unique social antics. It's simple. Do you remember the magical ink on the map? The one that lights up? Sure, I remember something along those lines. Well, this ink is also imbued with magic. Huh? That's one way of using magical ink, I guess, but why? It's a channel, like a magical artifact within me. Past scholars have discovered that magic is more easily malleable if directed to specific geometrical figures. At first, these symbols would be engraved on the armor of soldiers, but soon enough my ancestors' arcanists would point out just how inefficient the method really was. And that's why we created these magic tattoos. This is the Eye of Arcanus, and it's the most common figure used to channel magic. And how does it work? Ikalis seems to like my question because his face lights up as I say it. Well, as you already know, the magic users gather the mana from different places. The body, the soul, and the environment. Correct. So when people gathers the crim, it goes through the body and then we channel it. This figure on my chest works as a gathering area, drawing the crim toward it and increasing the efficiency of the magic. So for me, the natural crim goes in here, instead of gathering all over my body and getting lost in the process. Oh wow, even if I don't understand it entirely, his explanation is quite interesting and informative. Besides, who cares? He seems happy enough to explain this to me, so I say nothing. Arcanus called it the core, and tattooing yourself is known as engraving. It's mostly done by scholars and knights who want to improve their magical skills. So, each scholar in the Canine Kingdom engraves the Eye of Arcanus into their body? Yes, quite. It's a necessity. If you want to engage in more focused magic, you need a core. This one is the most well-known, but there are many others. So, I just need a bunch of tattoos all over my body to be a better wizard? Sign me in. I'm all down for some rad tattoos. Ikalis chuckles and looks at me with some sweetness in his eyes. No, not at all. The magic won't know where to go if you have more than one core, making it almost impossible to channel. That means yours aren't like mine. Your markings are a different kind that I've never seen. They have magical energy engraved in them, but they are not a core. So I'm drawing a blank here. I'm sorry. I see. Well, it's not like I didn't know that, but for a moment there I had my hopes up. I'll figure it out. You can trust in my word. I know. If someone can do it, that's you. I offer him a sincere smile and he returns it, his cheeks fully flustered, but that's usual Ikalis behaviors, so I don't mind it. Anyway, we have more pressing matters, such as our current situation. What about it? We must clean ourselves, of course. If not, I will never be able to shut my eyes tonight. Oh, that's what you mean. Well, there's a bath in the building, no? You can go first, unless you're willing to share the public bath with me. I offer him a sly smile, teasingly placing my hands on my hips and keeping eye contact with him for a few seconds. He eventually breaks it and looks away, his cheeks as red as tomatoes. His cheeks grow even redder than before, and I chuckle at his adorable reaction. He is too easy. Relax, I'm just messing with you. I know you don't like that idea, so you go first and I'll wait for my turn. Oh, okay. He seems sad, deflected, but as I'm about to ask him, I appreciate it. Now, if you'll excuse me. The wolf walks past me and closes the door, leaving me alone, wondering about what just happened. Ikalis took his sweet time bathing himself, so I decided to wait in my room, looking through the window to the street outside. I can see a few passers-by running around the street, trying not to get wet. But there's a certain other person that piques my interest, a hooded figure, standing there in the middle of the road, just looking into the distance. It is the curvy shape of a woman, but I can't be too sure since it's too dark outside. She also doesn't seem to mind the rain, as she's not moving an inch from that spot. Is she looking at me? Nah, I can't be. I'm just being paranoid, right? A feeling of discomfort assaults me as I look back at her. She's standing completely still, almost like a statue. I can't help but wonder if she's looking in my direction by any chance, or it's just my imagination. Still, there is something in my head telling me that she is dangerous? Important? Whatever it is, I can't shake the feeling. Oh. Whatever it is, I can't shake the feeling that if I stop looking... Sorry it took so long. Ikalis enters the room without warning, making me hit my knee with the edge of the window. His entrance also carries a cold wind that blew off all the candles from the room. What in the heavens were you doing? Shit, you scared me. My apologies, it wasn't my intention. I pray the wolf no mind as immediately look back outside, looking for the girl. She's gone. I'm so focused on the mysterious figure that I don't even notice when Ikalis turns the candles back on. Eli? Yes? What is it? I turn around and offer him a reassuring smile, trying to ease his worries. And perhaps mine, too. It's just my brain playing tricks on me. It's nothing. I turn my gaze towards the window for the third time, and Ikalis follows my lead. Yep, still nothing. Could it have been my imagination? Anyway, is the bath free? It is, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. It's pleasant enough. Good to know. Watch the fort while I'm out, okay? And with that, I try to erase that hooded figure from my mind as I walk past the wolf. After all, a nice bath is waiting for me, and I'm not planning on wasting it. As I walk back to our room, I encounter the innkeeper standing by the hallway. When he sees me, his ears perk up and he waves at me. I wave back as he approaches me. Sir, are you happy with your room? Is there anything I can do? Oh, not at all, sir. The room is great. No complaints at all. Although, thinking about it, one comes to mind. Except for the bed. You see, we are not that close to each other. There being only one bed made things a little inconvenient. Oh, by the goddesses! I am so terribly sorry, sir! Oh, no, it's okay. I'm just saying it for next time. Well, that's on me. The king requested one room, so I had no idea two of his men would come at the same time. I should have been better prepared. So, if you desire, there is one free room at the end of the hallway. It's a little smaller, but I'm sure it will fit your needs just fine. Oh, that's great to know. Thank you. And with that said, the man bows lightly and then walks away down the hall. I keep my eyes on him as he slowly vanishes from sight, and when he is gone, I just walk back to our room. So, I reckon that you've been here before. At this specific inn? Never. But I've spent my fair share of nights in this area. Everything is clean enough, so I like it. I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. After taking my bath, Ikalis and I started talking about different topics. We've been playing this game of asking each other questions to pass the time. I also had to convince him about staying in his underwear since putting on clothes seemed a little inconvenient. No ulterior motive there, I swear. So, my turn to ask a question, isn't it? Yep, fair is fair. Did someone educate you before I stepped in? Do I look that stupid? His mouth opens to say something, but immediately closes as his cheeks go red from the embarrassment. I can't help but smile at his reaction. I would take offense if he wasn't so darn cute. My adopted mother, Mrs. Biscotti. She was good with math, so she taught me all she knew, aside from reading and a little bit of story. The rest I learned on the go. She sounds like a wonderful woman. Yeah, she was. His eyes grow wide, probably unsure what to say about this revelation. I offer him a smile, letting him know that it's okay. Relax, it was a long time ago, no harm done. Yes, but still. I'm sorry about her passing. It must have been difficult for you. You have no idea, man. This is Heart of a phase I'm not proud of. The wolf raises his eyebrow, silently asking me to elaborate. I shake my head and chuckle. Nah, it's my turn to ask you. Ikalis nods and leans back on the bed, exposing his entire front on display. I guess we're past the formalities of not looking, which I greatly appreciate. So I wanted to ask you about your family. Is that okay? I suppose it is, but allow me not to answer if it gets too personal. Alright, I'll try not to be too nosy. The wolf seems uncomfortable, but willing, so I decide not to waste this opportunity. After all, it's a perfect chance to get to know him better. So, are you an only child, or do you have siblings? I'm an only child. My parents were too busy to conceive. Another one. Too busy? I guess. You could say that I was an obligation, or better said, something they had to do. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay, Eli. That doesn't mean I wasn't loved. Quite the opposite, actually. They bathed me with all kinds of nice things as I grew up. Oh wow, is that how a cow perceives me? Perceives love? I wish I could just ask him, but I get the feeling that it won't do any good. So I just ask something else. But why an obligation? Because your dad needed to pass down his title? Yes, you remembered. As I explained, the title of Grandmaster goes down from generation to generation. So, if my dad hadn't conceived me, the title would belong to my uncle's daughter. But we definitely don't want that. The girl is a mess. Then he married your mom for that? Did they even know each other? Aren't these too many questions? I thought it was supposed to be a fair game. Fancy me on this one, and I'll let you double next turn. Ask double next turn. Wolf sighs deeply and crosses his arms, looking at the window. Fuck, perhaps I should drop it. He's clearly getting uncomfortable. Yes and yes. They were colleagues from way back, but never really loved each other. My dad wanted an heir, and my mom wanted direct access to the royal library, so it was a win-win situation for them. Fuck, I'm sorry to hear that. Why? As I said, a win-win situation. They knew what they wanted, and they took it. I call that an ideal deal. Dang, is this how Ikalis really sees romantic relationships? A way of getting a benefit that you need? It's a little sad. So, you would marry someone you don't love? My question seems to take the wolf by surprise. He places his hair and looks away, not wanting to meet my eye. That's not what I meant. We're not talking about me, are we? I guess not. Anyway, my turn. What do you mean by a phase I'm not proud of? Ah, well, it's a little embarrassing. When Mrs. Biscotti passed away, it became what some parents would call a difficult kid. I started to stay outside late, get in touch with shifty people, and, well, I became part of a gang. Oh heavens, a gang? Now it's my turn to look away, embarrassed to be talking about this with him. Yes, we never hurt anyone, but we stole some stuff. Eventually we messed with the wrong person and got ourselves caught. That's when I began my redemption arc. if you want to call it that. I dropped the gang and started to get more involved in my mentor's shop. Although it still doesn't stop me from trying to steal from the king. I'm such an idiot for falling in the trap again. I had no idea. How unexpected. Really? The first time we met, Roger had apprehended me. How did you not figure it out? I just didn't put much thought into it. Don't take it personally. I didn't care that much at the time. Ouch, you wound me. You asked. I didn't think you would blame me for this. We laugh it off, enjoying each other's company in this oddly pleasant moment. I yawn, feeling more sleepy by every passing second. The rain outside has been a lovely lullaby, and fatigue from the day is starting to take a toll on me, making my eyelids feel a little heavy. Are you sleepy? Yeah, a lot. Didn't notice until now. But I'm hella tired. Yes, quite. I'm also tired. But that brings another problem, though. I follow his gaze and notice that he's looking at the bed, the same one we've been sitting at this whole time. Of course, the only bed in this room. I shouldn't be surprised, though. Ikalis is very reserved and dislikes personal contact. So the fact that he sees this as an issue is no surprise. Luckily for us, the Innkeeper told me about that other room at the end of the hallway. I should mention about it to him, and that way we can split it. But is that really necessary? I mean, he did seem a little sad when I told him to do things separately. Maybe he wants to bond? I'm drawing a blank here. What am I supposed to do? What is the proper thing to do? Perhaps I should just ask him if he's okay with sharing the bed. That way I'll make sure he doesn't mind. So, should we sleep together, one on each side of the bed? I'm sure we can manage to fit in there if we squeeze together. Ikalis seems unsure at first, but after pondering for a few seconds he nods. If we must. Ikalis seems a little uncomfortable about the prospect of sleeping together, but it looks like he's not against it. Okay, then I'll blow out the candles. As I say as I stand up from the bed, walking around the room and making sure to blow them all out. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right here. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks, or tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!